Have you ever looked at a painting and thought, that describes Scotland? What was it? A landscape? A rural scene? A couild set against a Highland background? Maybe a Peterhausen? I bet you didn't think of this one. If you're interested in the people, places and events in Scottish history, then click the subscribe button at the bottom right of the screen. And if you enjoy the video, then like it, share it, and watch the next one. In the meantime, let me tell you a story. I say a story, but this picture contains many stories. It's a painting that you'll have seen, but I'm betting that you haven't seen it in the context that we're going to look at it today. I've brought you to the Argyll and Sutherland Highlander Museum to make a series of videos about this painting, the thin red line. I'm sure you've seen it before, but have you looked at it before? This is a painting of the thin red line of 93rd Highlanders that stood facing a cavalry charge at the Battle of Balaclava. It was a defining picture. It captured a moment that changed warfare. But I'm going to suggest that it also captured a moment in Scotland that defines much of our psyche today. Whether you're Unionist or Nationalist, it reinforces your beliefs. If you're Unionist, in this picture you might see the triumph of Union with a Scottish Highland regiment demonstrating British resolve and the determination in the height of its imperial power. If you're Nationalist, you might see Scottish troops used once again as a frontline fodder for the benefit of political actors in London. And you'd both have a point. And maybe a lump in your throat, a tear in your eye, and pride in your heart. If you want to know the background to the military action that captures this at the Battle of Balaclava, then there are plenty of videos online. If you want me to do one, then let me know in the comment section. But this video isn't about what led to the thin red line of 500 Sutherland Highlanders standing in two ranks facing a charge of Russian cavalry. It's about more. It's about what this painting says about Scotland. And before I start, I make no apology if I wax lyrical. The painter created this to speak of determination, sacrifice, honour, bravery and pride. So who was the painter? In 1845, Robert Gibb was born the son of a Falkirk builder and a mother from Highland stock. They weren't wealthy, but Robert apprenticed to a lithographer, then set on a course of self-improvement, studying drawing and painting at evening classes at the Royal Scottish Academy. So far, so very Scottish. Well, it goes further than that. You see, the work that first got him recognition and associate membership of the Royal Scottish Academy was his painting of the landing of St Columba on Iona. He spent time in Iona to try to understand the feel and the light of that beautiful island so intrinsic to Scotland's story. Later in life, he was painting something no less Scottish than scenes to illustrate Sir Walter Scott's novels. That was the point at which he remembered Crimean War journalist William Howard Russell's description of a wall of brave men. That thin red streak topped with a line of steel. He put down his ideas for the picture in his sketchblock right away, and later he developed a painting in a studio in the Pentland Hills overlooking our Edinburgh capital. When the finished painting was exhibited at the Royal Scottish Academy in 1881, people went mental for it. It was shown at the Royal Academy in London the following year, and people went mental for it, making Gibbs one of Britain's leading military painters. Today, it hangs in the Scottish National War Museum. So you see, we have a boy bred from Highland and Lowland stock, painting scenes from the very origins of Scotland through to the Victorian Highland revival and empire. Even before we start looking at the painting itself, the life of the painter himself gives us a concise whistle-stop tour of Scotland. So what do we see in the painting? Now, before we look at the painting, can I just remind you that in 2026 I'll be taking 2 group tours of up to 25 folks around Scotland. In April, there's the ultimate Jacobite tour, and in September, it's my big signature 11-day tour, taking you from Hadrian's Wall and Vindolanda up to the Isle of Skye and all my favourite places, from prehistoric sites to Scotland's best castle, to gorgeous Highland Perthshire and places in between. I'll even put on one of my historical stand-up comedy shows. Click the link top right or in the description below, or email alexis@scotlandhistorytours.co.uk. So, that line of Scotsmen, upright, resolute in the face of danger, too brave to back down before a cavalry charge, standing in 2 shallow ranks when every rule of combat tells you to form square. It's just like William Wallace in Braveheart. Hold, hold, hold. And just like Braveheart, this picture isn't entirely accurate, because Scots can spin a yarn. So does this painting. Russian cavalry that close makes for a better painting, but they didn't get quite that far. But let's not diminish the bravery of these men, however close the tons of steel-tipped galloping horse flesh got. This was scary monsters. So whose idea was it for them to stand in a thin red line? If you look behind those ranks, you'll see the shadowy Major General who commanded the Highland Brigade, Sir Colin Campbell. That's right. Hearing that name alone has caused some of you to sit up straight like a meerkat being pulled over without insurance. I'm not sure the non-Brits will get that reference. All I'm saying is that surname opens another wound scorched into the Scottish psyche. A Campbell, holding rank in and complicit with the British establishment, ordering men from another part of the Highlands to die where they stand. But not all is quite what it seems. You see, the real name of that mounted man behind the line is Colin McIver. He was born a carpenter's son in Glasgow. So why is a Glaswegian from a humble background given orders under the name of Campbell as a Major General in the British Army? Well, the story goes that when he was taken to enlist as a 15-year-old boy, he was taken by an uncle called Major Campbell. The recruiter, recognising the old soldier, said, another one of the family. And he wrote young Colin's name down as Campbell. The young lad spent his entire military career known as Colin, then Sir Colin Campbell. Finally, he'd be known as Lord Clyde. But this tale in itself speaks so much of the stories that we tell ourselves. A carpenter's son who gained a commission in the army thanks to a kindly uncle, lived under that uncle's name, demonstrated Scottish grit and bravery on too many occasions for me to list them here, such that he was repeatedly promoted and ended up Colin Campbell, 1st Baron Clyde. Finally buried in Westminster Abbey alongside David Livingstone. That's as Scottish Victorian a story as you get. And of course, this painting is Victorian. The painting was born in the Victorian era. It speaks of a Victorian battle, and it paints a picture that's the essence of Highlanders in the Victorian age. That period of the romance of the Highland and tartan and bagpipes and brave, stoic, simple but loyal heroes. Devoted Scots at the height of empire, doing their bit for Britain. I said at the start, that's the image Unionists will enjoy. Nationalists will look and see a regiment from Sutherland that only a generation before this suffered the worst depredations of the Highland clearances, and yet now are called upon to give their lives for the benefit of the British establishment that shunned their parents. Now, Unionists could rightly retort that these weren't all from Sutherland. In fact, not only were there men in these ranks from different parts of Scotland, there were a number from other parts of the United Kingdom. Staunch Unionists fighting for a Scottish regiment, proudly part of that union. As I say, I'm not here to take sides. I'm just saying that those of you who do will inevitably find justification for the story that you tell. In another video, I've touched on the stories of some of the individual men standing in that line. We know who many of them were. One man in particular I'll cover, whose story is worth watching. Some settled in England and are buried there. Some of them retired to Canada and other parts of the empire. So this picture also speaks of emigration and settlement and is part of the story of the diaspora as well as Mother Scotia. Those North Americans and Antipodeans of the diaspora will look back to kilts and bagpipes and tartan shortbread tins more than homebred Scots. Many of them descended from folks who emigrated during this Victorian period of the Highland Revival. That's the genetic memory they carry. So if you've seen this painting, it's probably struck you as a dramatic masterpiece of military art. But when you look at it, there's much more to tell. They say a picture paints 1,000 words. This picture paints half that many Scotsmen, but it tells us more about our ideas of Scotland than we might think at first glance. I've made a video that examines how the fathers and grandfathers of these men were betrayed when they enlisted in the same regiment. I've also made a video about some of the individual men standing in that line. There's a choice of these videos coming up on screen now. If you enjoyed this video, then like it, share it, and watch the next one. Support the channel by clicking top right to become a Patreon member or buy me a coffee in the description below. In the meantime, Fummey and Dawkins can be a lamb. Cherry and Rasta.